Alright guys, let's talk about 5 mistakes that students make while contacting prospective professors to ask them to be their prospective PhD supervisor or MS supervisor and give them scholarships. But before that, an apology is in order. I'm so sorry I haven't been able to post as much as I would have liked to. I recently had my wedding reception, so as you can imagine, I was a little preoccupied, to say the least. Okay, let's talk about the first mistake. Not doing enough research. What do I mean by that? You have to know the professor's area of interest. You cannot, be it for an MS position or a PhD position, you cannot just randomly start sending emails to different professors. And I don't just mean one Google search, what's the area of research for this professor? No, you need to dig deeper into their profile. If it's an MS position, read at least the titles for 5 to 7 of their most recent publications. If it's for a PhD position, read the full paper, the abstract and conclusion minimum for 5 to 7 most recent publications, and read at least the titles and the names of the journals that they are published in for 10 to 20 research papers, because just by reading the names of the research papers you will get to know what kind of different topics the professor is publishing on, because no professor is publishing on a single topic. It's always a research group. They have anywhere between 3 to 20-30 students, and all of them are working on different topics. So reading the names of the latest 10 to 20 research papers will give you an idea of the type of topics they are working in, and also the type of journals that they are publishing in. Also, when it comes to doing the background research, don't forget to read the news and updates section on the professor's websites. That will give you something about their current achievements, what are the different recent grants and awards them or their students received. Also, a little rough estimate about the total number of students they have in their research group at the moment. So don't forget to read the news/updates section on the professor's website. Number 2 mistake, not being specific enough in your email to the professor. What do I mean by that? Saying that you want to do a PhD in machine learning and the professor is working in machine learning, so your research interests are aligned. This is not enough. Machine learning is too broad of a topic. The same applies to other areas as well. So just giving a broader name of a particular topic is not enough. You have to be specific. But specifically, do you want to work in using machine learning? Do you want to work in the algorithmic side of it? If so, what type of algorithms interest you? Do you want to work towards applications of machine learning? What kind of applications? What's the area of machine learning that professor is exploring? For example, in my particular case, my professor works broadly in 5G networks, and to be more specific, application of machine learning to 5G networks. And under this broad umbrella, there are still multiple different topics in which he's working in. So for me, when I was applying for a PhD position, I chose the area cognitive radio networks, and more specifically spectrum sensing. So I wanted to apply machine learning to spectrum sensing problem to know whether or not this is a really viable option. So you have to be specific in your email. What type of topics are you really planning to work on? And the second point in this regard is, some students think that just giving the name of some of the paper written by the professor is specific enough. For example, saying that your paper titled blah 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 really made me interested in working in this topic. That's not enough. You have to explain why. What specifically made you interested in that topic, or what did you find interesting about that paper? Saying, I'm interested in this topic. Why? You have to explain why or what specifically is interesting for you. So if you've read a paper, comment on something specific about that paper. For example, some assumptions they made, the type of algorithm that they applied to. Do you agree or disagree with any of the assumptions or the model that they used? Would you have done it the same way, or do you have any alternative approach in your mind that you would like to propose? Be specific. Pick one of these points and then comment about it. Assumptions, model, mathematical model, background, application, result. Do you agree or disagree with the results? Did you find something particularly interesting in the results? Why? Did you find something unexpected? Why was it unexpected for you? What did you expect instead? Comment on something. You don't have to comment on all of these things. Just pick one and comment on something specific about their paper. The third biggest mistake the students make is not knowing enough about the research group. You have to know how many students the professor currently has, how many students graduated as successful PhD, MS candidates under his supervision, and what are they doing now. So you can use that as a reference for your own career trajectory. If everybody who graduated from this particular lab went on to work in the industry, you have a good chance of securing a job in that particular industry. If they all chose academia, you have better chances of joining academia afterwards. It's just how it works. They're your peers. They are your source of making new connections in industry or academia. So look into what the students went on to doing after they graduated. Also look in what type of journals the research group in general is publishing, because those are the journals that most likely you will be publishing in. So if they are all low quality journals, you might want to avoid that particular research group. Or if they are really high quality, top quality journals that you want to publish in, then target that professor, target that research group to apply for your MS or PhD position. It will also tell you what type of grants the professor and his students are getting. So sometimes in the news section you will find something like, congratulations to XYZ student for securing a scholarship titled this. So this also gives you an idea if the professor allows external fundings, external scholarships in that particular research group, and if students have obtained external scholarships before, because this will also give you an idea about your chances of getting an external scholarship while you're doing a PhD. For example, for my case, a lot of the students in my research group got external scholarships. For example, one of the most common one was FRQ&T scholarship, and guess what? When I was a student, I also applied for the same scholarship and I also got it. I'm not sure if someone before me got the PEO IPS scholarship or not, but I got that scholarship, and once I got it, my professor posted it on his website congratulating me that I got this scholarship. So now future students who are applying to our research group will know that some student in this group has gotten this scholarship before. So if they need any help applying, if they need some guidance when they are applying for the same scholarship, they know who to reach, they know who to connect with, and I will be able to help them with that. So do know these things when you're applying to any particular research group, because PhD is one of the most important decisions of your life. Take it seriously. Put some time and effort into choosing the professor and research group that you're applying to. Number 4 on my list is not having a well-written email, and that should go without even me needing to mention it. There should not be any spelling mistakes, there should not be any grammar mistakes. Your email should not be too long that the professor falls asleep in the middle of it while reading it, but it should also not be too short that it lacks key information about you, about your background, that the professor has to, spend some time and effort sending an email back to you asking for that key information. Make sure your email is not too short or too long, and it has all the key information that the professor needs to make a decision about whether or not call you for an interview. And the final and fifth mistake is not being polite or respectful. And I thought this would be an obvious one, but sadly it's not. I have read and reviewed a lot of emails that my professor receives or some of my colleagues and friends receive from prospective PhD students. A lot of the students copy-paste emails from one professor to another, and sometimes they even forget to change the name of the professor that they are applying to. And this is sending a very, very negative impression about yourself. You're never getting a chance with that professor if you're just copy-pasting email from professor to professor. Also be mindful of their time. Don't send emails that are way too long. Don't attach documents in a format that would require them to download it, unzip it, open it, and then read it. Try to attach it in the form of a single PDF. If you're sending 2 or 3 documents, for example, attach them in the form of a single PDF so they can just, within the email, open the PDF, glance through it, decide whether or not they want to reply to you. Also check the norms of the country about the proper way to address the professor. Is it respected sir? Is it dear doctor last name? Is it dear doctor first name? Is the word dear even polite or a norm in that particular country, because different parts of the world have different standards. There's no one shoe fits all standard for writing to prospective professors. It depends on country to country. Most professors are understanding about it if you are not aware of the country's norms, but still it shows a little bit of extra care if you put in the time and effort to just Google what is the standard norm in that particular country where you're applying, and if you address them in that particular way, they would definitely appreciate it. For example, if you're emailing a Turkish professor and if you start your email by hocam, they would definitely appreciate that little bit of extra care and effort goes a long way. So now that you've written a well-crafted email, the next step is to have an impressive enough SOP that they cannot refuse. And if you want to know what are some of the blunders that some students make in the SOPs, then I will leave a video series here where I reviewed real SOPs from some of my lucky subscribers, and I reviewed them in real time with real mistakes that they made. So if you want to see mistakes not to make in your SOPs, do check that series out, and I'll see you next time.